Alrighty guys, so this is the brand new Forza 150B from Nanlite, and you know how much of a fan I am of bicolored lights, and this one, no exception. How's it going guys? My name is Andrew Murphy from Down Under in Gold Coast, Australia. And if you're new here, welcome, consider subscribing. I make videos on filmmaking, lighting, basically just helping you make better content, I guess. So if that's something you're into, consider subscribing and liking this video. But yeah, let's get into looking at this light. So the Nanlite Forza 150B is an absolute game changer for that kind of like micro pocket light realm of lights because of the sheer output of this light and the controllability now being bicolored. So now when the Forza 150 came out, I was extremely impressed by the output for the size, just as I was when the Forza 60 first came out as well. And if you want to see my full thoughts on the Forza 150, I'll leave it linked up here so you can go check it out. Now, because I typically shoot with, by myself or with small teams and we have a pretty fast turnaround time, the more time that we can save on set, the better. And having to like gel lights can chew up a lot of time, especially when you're doing it over and over again. And that is the number one reason why I just always gravitate to bicolored fixtures. So now the Forza 150B has a CCT range of 2700 to 6500 Kelvin in 100 Kelvin increments, which means that you can basically simulate golden hour light, daylight, and moonlight from just one fixture within seconds. It has a CRI of 96, a TLCI of 98, weighs only 1.56 kilograms, and has a 170 watt output. It has the FM mount, or the mini Bowens mount, that the Forza 60 also uses, which means that you can also utilize it with the same accessories that work with the Forza 60 as well, which means the mini projector attachment, the 60 centimeter softbox and lantern. But by far my favorite is the Fresnel, the FL11. It's just so good at, I guess, like increasing the output of the light and really just being able to control it really good. But now keep in mind, if you don't have any FM mount accessories, you only have full-size Bowens mount stuff, then it comes with an adapter. So it adapts from the FM to a full-size Bowens mount, and you can use all your existing Bowens mount accessories with this light as well. And honestly, this works great. Like even pairing this with the 120 centimeter parabolic softbox, because this is 170 watts, it still works good. It's like using it with a FS150 or something. Alrighty, so in terms of fan noise, this is what it sounds like with the mic leveled to my voice, and the actual Forza 150B is 1 meter away from an on-camera mic. And then if we were to turn off. Right, so now I have recently been testing this light out on a few shoots, and I've mainly used it with that PJ FZ60 projector lens, mainly because the Forza 60 sometimes isn't quite bright enough, but also as well, like when you add on the 36-degree lens, you lose a bit of output because of the beam spreading out. So by pairing it with something like the Forza 150B, you get that wide beam, but you also get that extra power. So you gain that intensity output that you lose when you go to that wider beam. And you can see in these shots how we actually like utilize the projector with the blinds attachment to simulate like an afternoon light peeking through a window to add a bit of texture to a boring white wall. And then again, because it's bicolored, we could easily basically just like go through the whole color temperature range and see what looks good within seconds, and then just like show the director. It's like, hey, what color do you want? Do you want it cool? Do you want it warm? Do you want it neutral? And it's just so quick. And honestly, like trying to show like this color temperature range with gels is just a nightmare. Like it just takes so much time. And the other thing as well is that when you put gels onto lights, you actually lose output because obviously it has to shoot through something, change the color, and then keep going. And I've actually noticed that in some of the lights, if you add too many gels on, so say you add a full CTO, which will take the 5600 Kelvin down to about a 2700 Kelvin, which this can go down to, I've actually found that in a lot of cases, the bicolored version on those like extremes of the color temperature range, the bicolored version is actually brighter because obviously you're not, I guess, like losing output by gelling this or changing the color. You're just changing which chips are in use. But again, the main reason that you would say go for a bicolored fixture over a daylight fixture is the time saving. Literally crank it down 2700 rather than trying to find a gel and attach it and all that kind of stuff, and it's just a nightmare. And now since starting to actually use this projector attachment with the wider beam and utilizing it to kind of have a bit of texture on the wall, I actually try utilize this method in most of my shoots because it really helps sell the realism of the lighting that you're actually setting up. Because like a lot of the time, just in, I guess, like everyday life, you get a lot of like light spilling through windows and stuff and like hitting walls and making patterns and stuff. And it's just a very natural thing to see. Now the Forza 150B can be powered via the included AC adapter, or you can actually get a battery handle as well. I don't have one currently. Mine hasn't actually rocked up just yet. Actually, scratch that, mine actually just rocked up the other day. So this is the battery handle for the Forza 150B. Basically exactly the same as the Forza 60B one. The only difference is that it has a 4-pin plug rather than a single DC barrel. And that is because it can supply either 14.4 volts or 26 volts to the Forza 150B. However, one thing to keep in mind, which is the same as the Forza 150, is that when you're using 26 volt batteries, you'll get 100% of the output. But if you're using 14.8 volt batteries, you get, I think it's about 80% of the output, just because you don't have that full voltage going into the light. But it's saying that even if you're only getting 70 to 80% of output running this on a standard 14.8 volt battery, that's still like, 110, 120 watts of power, which is double what you get from a Forza 60 or a Forza 60B. And this is just awesome if you're going to pair it with something like, say, a 60 centimeter softbox or a lantern, because now you've got that 110, 120 watts of bi-colored portable light using a 14.8 volt V-Lock battery, which is super duper cool, which means that, you can just basically like lug around this kind of like super portable light and just add little pops of light even when you're shooting outdoors to basically any scene. And I actually did a test with the original Forza 150 shooting outdoors to see, I guess, like how bright it actually is. If you want to check that out, again, I'll leave it linked up here so you can go to check out my tests and see what the results actually were. Now, unfortunately, like I was saying, my battery handle hasn't arrived yet for the Forza 150, so I wasn't able to utilize this on a recent short film, but I actually did utilize the Forza 60B with the battery handle on basically like a C-stand, I guess not a boom pole, but just like the C-stand pole without the base. And it was super duper handy because, again, we've got this super portable, lightweight, it's only like a 60 watt, but we could change the color temperature, we could do this, and we could just add pops of color when we're basically running through the city and just make our actual subjects stand out way more from the background. However, there were a few instances where it would have been good to have that little bit of extra power, where this would have come in super duper handy. And once we actually get the battery handle for this will probably be my go-to portable on location lighting setup, just because you can get that extra power from this. Now for control, it has just the standard 2.4G and Bluetooth connectivity, so you control it via the Nanlite remote or the Nanlite app. But it also has that DMX port as well, so you do need a 3.5mm adapter to utilize the DMX, but that gives you maximum control. You can literally control everything via that DMX port. Now, who is this light actually for? And honestly, if you've got a Forza 60 or a Forza 60B and you love that mini form factor, but you're wanting a little bit more power, this, or even the Forza 150, I guess depends if you like daylight or bi-colored fixtures, Forza 150, hands down, the next light you really need to get. Again, I'm a huge fan of bi-colored fixtures, and my plan is to basically have a full kit that's just bi-colored lights. Just makes it so much easier. But yeah, Forza 150 just gives you that extra power, that extra output that you might be lacking from, say, like a Forza 60 or a Forza 60B. And what's super cool is this light now basically completes my nearly full or ultimate bi-colored lighting setup. So we've got the Forza 60B, Forza 150B, 300B, and 720B. All we need now is an Evoke 1200B, and then we've got just the absolute best lighting setup for basically any situation. So Nanlite, wink wink, Evoke 1200B. But now also, if you're someone who loves using the projector attachment, but again, you find that the Forza 60 just doesn't provide enough power, especially if you're utilizing that 36-degree wide angle beam, again, Forza 150, I guess for me, Forza 150B is a great addition to be able to pump up that output again when you're using that wider actual lens, and you just lose a little bit output because of that. However, just be super aware that obviously when you're adding a lot more power into these projectors, you're also adding a lot more heat as well. So basically, if you are going to be changing gobos or you are going to be touching any of the metal in that actual fixture, be very careful, kind of turn it off and let it cool down for a bit before you actually touch it, because it gets extremely hot. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this look at the Forza 150B. If you did, consider liking and subscribing to the channel. If you want to find out more about this light, I'll leave some links down below for you to go check out. Otherwise, stay creative and just be you. Have fun.